How do you start to find something as big as your vision or your purpose or your guiding principles? I'm Suzanne Rath, and you're listening to Endures for your daily dose of endurance leadership and life lessons. So, Envision is the first stage of Endures, and anybody who's listening for a while knows that I love to dream big, I love to do big things, and I love people achieving their full potential in life. And I've just come off 2 days at a media event in Sydney. And I have 3 major thoughts from that. So, first of all, your vision has to be unique to you. I was talking to a journalist about, my marathon running, my ultra running and whatever, and she made a comment that it could be a little bit intimidating to people. Here's the thing. I don't think you should all go up and take up ultra running, right? It takes up a lot of time. It's a lot of time that you could be spending with your family or reading a book or doing, some of the many other things you might choose to do. I choose to do it ahead of painting or ahead of baking or ahead of all these things that I think, maybe I might like to do that. That'd be nice someday, because I love it, because it aligns with my values, because it gives me so much, and because I love the journey, even though it's hard, because I'm a freak, right? I love the connection, I love the nature, I love the people I meet, I love that, feeling of being able to do hard things. I love being a woman who can do hard things. Do I think that you should all chase the same thing? No. You need to find what actually matters to you. Now, the second piece is, sometimes it's really hard to find what matters to us. So we live in this world of these arbitrary goals and these social media and all the rest of us. And I've spoken about this before. When I've hit these big goals in my business and everyone's been telling me that I'm doing really well, and I just feel a bit rubbish. And so when we, have this vision of how we want our life to look, right? And we need to activate all of the senses, and it might be a vision that this year or in the next 3 years, I'm going to go and do Everest Base Camp, or I'm going to reno the house, or I'm going to have a job that enables me to get home before 5 p.m. or whatever the case might be. And we can have our vision board and we can have our goals set around that and, all the rest of it. We need to really sit with how that feels in our gut and in our bodies. And so a little tool that we used over the course of the last couple of days was when we were telling our story to someone else or talking about all the things that are really meaningful to us, or you might do this, you might journal or draw if you're very creative, or just even voice record. If you don't want to go and word vomit out your whole life story to somebody, you might just voice record it on your phone and listen back and think about the things that are really meaningful and the things that make you light up. And then think, what is it about those things? If I was to define my mission or what I've been put here on this earth for, or, what really lights me up in 1, 2, 3 words, which words really resonate with me the most? And so the 3 words I came up with were legacy, courage, and meaning. So meaning is such a core part of what I do. And again, this comes back to, I don't care what it is you want to do, but it needs to be meaningful. So if you are a business owner and you want to make a ton of money, what is the meaning of that money? I personally don't care about money except as a conduit to enter races, to travel, and to give back to other people. But you may have totally different reasons why you care about money, right? What is the meaning? What is the meaning of you wanting to buy that business premises? What's the meaning of you wanting that promotion? What is that going to give you that lights up your life? Now, courage is another big thing, and this is something that I really encourage in my clients and in my keynote, because we cannot achieve big things without the courage to put ourselves in the arena. There are so many things that I do that I don't know if I can do them yet, and we do it by nudging closer and closer to that point and stepping forwards into the dark. And then, of course, legacy. So I want to impact more people. But you might want to think about the legacy that you want to leave from your business and your leadership. Is that legacy one of worry and stress and, having to be there all the time and never seeing your family? Or is it a legacy of empowering other people to grow and do their jobs without you? Or is it a legacy of giving back to the community? Or is it a legacy of a business that lasts for generations? Or is it a legacy where somebody else has been influenced by your leadership? There's so many things that can be, but they need to be the most meaningful things to you. And the third piece that I am going to leave you with is when you think about what is meaningful to you, the legacy you want to leave, the vision you want to set. And you can change your vision. Doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure when I was 19, I didn't have a vision for anything other than what I was doing on the weekend. That's fine. We're all in different chapters of our lives. Right now I have some things I would like to achieve in my life. I have some things I would like to do. I have a vision of what I would like to do in my year. I have that sitting in front of me. I have a bit of a vision of what I'd like the next 3 to 5 years to be, but that doesn't mean I have it filled with arbitrary goals or every second of my life is mapped out, which will come as a surprise to some people who think it is. Almost. But what really stuck with me, the third thing, after the last couple of days, is when we really lean into our unique selves and the whole of all of our parts, and we are authentic and we live with integrity, we, one, underestimate how amazing that is. So you might think, oh, that person's mission, their vision is to do this big thing and my vision is only this, which is never a word you should use about yourself, only. You might look at somebody else and go, oh, they're achieving all these big things, but I'm doing X, Y, and Z. But the thing is, we underestimate the things that we can do. So the things we can do, we see them as ordinary. I have told so many people my business origin story at this point. Surviving this life-threatening accident, setting a vision to recover, putting a team of people around me to help me thrive. It's 13 years ago since I had that traumatic brain injury. To me, that's just the norm. That's just what I did. Running my business is what I do. Running is what I do. These are parts of me. They're just what I do. I don't see them as extraordinary. I look at somebody who talks about something or works in something that I don't understand, and I think, wow, that's so interesting. That's really interesting. It's so interesting how they're so passionate about that. I spoke to somebody who set up a podcast called Strata Stories, and even though I am unfortunately part of a commercial body corporate through one of our clinical spaces, I really don't think I know anything about body corporate. And so I'm fascinated by somebody who can put together regular owners of strata properties with experts and translate some of the problems that both sides have, and who has adapted this as a niche. How cool. I don't know anything about that. We don't hide your light under a bushel. We underestimate how interesting the things that we do, or the whole of ourselves, if we really, get to know our unique selves and don't let ourselves go, don't let our hobbies go, don't let the things that are meaningful go by the wayside in this pursuit of just hustle, grind, then we can be these really interesting and well-rounded individuals. And there'll be somebody who's going, oh, that's amazing. I couldn't do that, when it's something that we just take for granted. So if you have some time over the weekend, I would really love you to sit with that idea of, going back through your story, going back through the patterns of your life and thinking, what brought me meaning? How would I describe this? What are my guiding principle words that I would describe this? What do I live by? And how does that actually connect to where I'm going my vision and what I want to achieve in the world. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow for more from Endures.